Between the families of my father and mother, my mother's side has been much more prevalent in my life than my father's. You see, my mother is Greek, and she has a large Greek family. Greeks are close and tend to stick together, and although I'm adopted and technically not Greek, I identify myself as such because that aspect of my family has been so strong throughout my life. My grandmother, or Yaya, on my mom's side, was my closest grandparent. Born shortly after the First World War, her life was plunged right into depression. She married my grandfather, Theotoki, right before the start of World War II in 1936. Shortly after they married, Theotoki hopped a ship to New York City in order to find work that paid well enough to move Yaya to America. While in America, besides being deported twice, Theotoki cheated on his wife with many women. Yaya's sisters, who lived right across the street from Theotoki in New York, wrote her telling stories of the women that they saw him bring home. Meanwhile, Yaya was forced to stay with her abusive mother-in-law, who she absolutely hated. On top of this, in 1941, the Germans occupied Kefalonia, the Greek island on which my grandmother lived. Only God could tell of the horrors she must have witnessed while the Nazis were in power. There was even a speculation that she had been raped. These grievous circumstances in her early years shaped the rest of her life. After the war, Yaya was allowed to move to the United States legally, as Theotoki had received an honorable discharge from the U.S. Army. When she got off the ship, she was very sick. She was skinny as a twig and obviously extremely unhappy and depressed. She eventually got better, but she was never truly happy. No doubt this was partially caused by the mistreatments she suffered under her mother-in-law as well as the Nazis. Throughout her life in America, Yaya was very stubborn and refused to assimilate into a typical American lifestyle. She never learned things like how to speak fluent English or how to drive a car, and she certainly never fit the category of the typical American housewife. She remained the same she always was, which was uneducated and as stubborn as a fucking rock in sunshine. In addition, Yaya had a strange habit of accumulating useless crap. Once every week, Theotoki would get up early before his wife and steal some of this garbage and take it to a dump nearby. Whenever he did this, Yaya was furious. She simply did not know how to throw anything away. This was due not only to a documented medical condition, but her experiences in the depression when she was younger. Her reasoning was she would not know when she would need a particular thing, be it food or boxes or fucking junk mail. After Theotoki passed away from a stroke in '84, the habit got worse. Every day for almost 15 years, she would go out and scour the streets for trash and bring it back to the house and stash it somewhere. She did this until she was incapable of walking very far. Trying to walk through Yaya's house was like walking through a flea market, useless junk everywhere. Ironically, most of the things she tended to give away were very, very valuable. When I conversed with Yaya, it was very cut and dry and repetitive. By the time I was entering grade school, her hearing was just about shot. Whenever I talked to her on the phone, I'd be slightly hoarse afterwards, due to the fact I had to yell into the mouthpiece. To be honest, she probably never even understood half of what I ever said. It was a very sad relationship because she was a very sad woman. She never learned how to love and enjoy life. As she got older, she regressed into a state in which she lived many years previously. She never seemed to throw anything away because during the early years of her life and throughout her young adulthood, she had nothing. When she died, she was bent over with years, malnourished, and suffered severe dementia. I loved Yaya very much, and I am glad that she is in a better place where she doesn't have to worry anymore.